that we are at a tie match at the top. Double gen pop to avoid the deadlock. They do go down. There is a haste status effect. They do have to be careful here. The hatch is going to spawn momentarily. Deadhard could get them the distance to get it too.
Really smart play on the ace. Oh my god, getting shot through the window.
No longer have distortion, and they are gonna teleport here. I think they get there in time. Yes!
Oh, the grab! Yes! That is disappointing. This is be a 4-man out because.
Yeah, but they will be able to block this. Yo, getting caught on that. Ace coming with the body block. Oh, they were here.
Hey, what is up, guys? It's Giltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. I am joined once again for the bronze match with the Bug King himself, as we are going to be witnessing Prophecy versus Tribute, duking it out for the 3rd place spot. How excited are you?
I'm really excited. It's amazing to be back here again. I'm looking forward to these games. A little bit disappointed that B2 didn't get into the final for personal bias. But this grudge match between Tribute and Prophecy has all the makings of some great games. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this nurse performs on the Coal Tower. But yeah, really excited and really strong going into the final today with Iconic and Chronicles. What a display they put up yesterday. But let's focus on this one as the nurse is out there searching for their first kill.
Yeah, Nurse blinking around, trying to identify where these survivors might be, checking every nook and cranny, and has found the Lori blink out of nowhere. And looks like we will see FaZe keep in chase as we do see the Lori life away. For those of you who are new to our finals, it is no holds bar. So teams are able to pick whatever killer they want. They did do so in advance. So we're going to be seeing a lot of S tiers here today. And we'll see Tribute here starting off strong with the Nurse, getting their first down pretty quickly too.
Yeah, that's a magnificent start for Tribute as they get their first down, carrying away Blink onto their first hook. They couldn't have dreamed for a more quicker start. As you said, S-killers galore today, and it's almost like a role reversal as Prophecy are choosing to go with Blight after this, and then at the exact opposite mirror, if you will, the next game. An easily found Ace lurching around upstairs. Is this going to be another quick, successful second down? Only time will tell as he makes his way over to that tile. But no, didn't get that off in time and decided to leave and go back to the hook to ensure pressure is applied to there.
Yeah, looked like the Ace had a bounce lane. Makes sense with him working on that main generator. However, Nurse just unable to keep up with them as they were able to break line of sight. We do see some scratch marks over there towards the right of the hook, but time is ticking down. They only have about 5-10 seconds left before Lori moves to the second stage and that much closer to being sent back to the campfire via the entity.
Yeah, and we see this time and time again, squeezing out that first hook, forcing the survivors. It adds that extra element of pressure when someone is on death hook when they come off. We have Princess Odin, captain, already injured, but not a gen done yet, which is surprising, but doing a good job to keep that pressure up on the survivors.
Yeah, actually very surprising here. Nurse potentially feeling empowered by that fact, actually hanging around this hook still. And we see it only has about 30 seconds left before Lori just gets sent to the campfire via their first hook. And we do hear one gen popping off, and if the Nurse looks around, we will see in the distance a entity blocker popping up. That there is a deadlock, slowing things down just a little bit.
Yeah, deadlock over the other side of the map. I wonder if the team are just saying, look, we're going to sacrifice this down. They're worried about snowballing the survivors and not having that, but It's strange that they're going to allow Blink to go down. I would presume 2 of the team will have to come over to ensure that they rescue in time. Strange tactics, but it's all mind games at the end of the day.
Though potentially a very smart one at that. Might be strange. However, do want to note that the Lori has been on that hook for quite some time now, and that there was the result of a kinship, if I'm not mistaken, as the timer did get slowed down for just a little bit, and Nurse will in fact have to go for the chase rather than waiting out the hook timer.
Yeah, I was going to notice it seemed to be at that stage for a long period of time. It should have realized that kinship was there. We did see 2 survivors coming across. Not quite sure. Was that decisive that happened? Yes, of course it was.
That was indeed a decisive strike. Kinship decisive, really good combination of perks in my opinion. And Lori definitely using them here to a T. However, Survivor is not getting as many gens done as I would expect for the result that the Nurse has gotten so far. 1 survivor out, 3 gens remaining. I mean, that's going to be pretty difficult for the survivors to manage, I think.
Yeah, you saw the deadlock happen across the other side of the map, whether the survivors just chose to really leverage pressure on that side. I don't know if it was worth the death to get them too. You would have expected at least another gen to pop in that period of time. The Nurse is on the prowl, is not going to that area of deadlock, but see some scratch marks. Hopefully, we see another survivor. And there it is, coming straight out, and Buey taking it in the back of the head.
Yeah, really good hit there. A blind from a firecracker as well. Shaking the Nurse, actually avoiding the hit as well. The Nancy back in this game, though Nurse seems to be on them, trying to go for these aggressive swings, just not able to get them to connect.
It's almost like that flashbang rattled. A couple of missed swings, a bit of disorientation. Nurse it in. Buey did well to distract the Nurse. It was a skillfully placed flashbang that enabled them to get away, managed to get to the corner of the map, wasting valuable time. We see a gen pop, but up goes Buey as a prize on top of the hill.
Yeah, really dangerous hook too for these survivors. Gonna be really difficult for them to go for that unhook without the Nurse intercepting them. However, with that 1 gen in the back getting 99'd, I think, these survivors playing around deadlock to AT, and we see the A's finishing it out as well. Though they are now in chase, it means that these survivors are 1 gen away from opening up these exit gates.
Yeah, maybe after all, sacrificing that teammate was the right move, because they forced that pressure over the other side of the map, going down here to waste valuable time, which means another gen somewhere was on the brink of being completed, and I think that was expertly done with the deadlock. Survivors doing well, which started off as a rocky start, but really starting to gain momentum now and using them time and seconds and basically eating out of the Nurse's time to make sure that they get them gens completed.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, was kind of surprised to see the Ace jump down into basement, but getting used to that balance landing was actually quite smart, wasting just a little bit of extra time. And now it comes down to these final 2 survivors. Are they able to crank out the gen? Takes about 55 seconds for 2 survivors without Prove Thyself. We'll see if they are on main or the one in this back corner.
Yeah, I'll be interested. Start that timer, Gil. Let's see what happens if them 2 are going to sacrifice and try and go for a 2 escape out and really have confidence in their killer to basically get a better scoreline, or will they go for that save? We see a little bit of progression done on the top of the gen. Nothing really around as they scout. See 1 gen marked in yellow, but a survivor hit in the corner as Buey takes it. So movement better be getting over to that hook. And you see that happen.
Yeah, and we see the eruption hitting both those gens, 10% each for a collective 18 seconds on top of 0.3% per second regression thereafter. So really huge for this Nurse, and things are actually starting to look quite grim for these survivors. They had been chipping through these gens non-stop, making that initial sacrifice worth it. But now with this pseudo 3 gen that the Nurse has available to them, it's going to be very difficult for these survivors to get an escape.
Yeah, I think you're right. It did start off, they were pumping them out. A rocky start with that death, but churning out the gens, but it seems to be a little bit stalemate. That eruption is going to prove crucial to the Nurse winning this game. Not being able to do much for 18 seconds is really valuable, allowing to reapply that pressure back to the survivors. It is looking a little bit bleak, but you never know. They may come out swinging. This is a bronze final after all.
Yeah, absolutely. Nurse with some amazing game sense, recognizing those crows dispersing and wondering why that might be, sussing out that Claudette, and looks like they're going back for the Unhook, but the Blink misfiring, unable to get up onto the hill. That might give these survivors a chance to go for the Unhook.
Yes, did it? Yes, it did come down after all. Sacrifice to a trade hook. That was an invaluable miss. I actually thought it was intentional that they saw something we didn't. Has decided not to reapply it onto that hook there as Ace now goes on for their second hook.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually huge for those survivors, and actually a great example to one thing that really well-seasoned Nurse players know all too well. When you go for a blink, you always need to aim a bit further up than what you expect. It extends that blink range just a little bit. That might get you on top of those objects, but Nurse with a very good down there on the Claudette, scouting out for the Nancy as well, and going over here and maybe seeing something to suggest the Nancy is nearby.
It was an excellent play on movement. That blink coming out was almost sublime, going for that wall and taking them down. And now we eventually have a snowball effect as the Nurse is searching for Buey to go for that final extermination. Have we seen an unbreakable play from anybody yet?
I don't want to say that we have. With that being said, it wouldn't be outside the realm possibility that the Kinship DS may have also had it. That normally is reserved for those with a Deliverance, which we also have not seen thus far this match.
Yeah, we just see Princess Odin, the captain of Prophecy, going out of the game. Movement on. Buey is injured. This isn't a good spot for them to be in, considering the amount of gens they pwned out there. Believe they were hoping they were at least going to get 1 or 2 survivors out as the Nurse continues to look for Buey. Not quite sure what options are open to him, but interesting to see how it will pan out.
Yeah, these survivors really have to make a tough decision here. They can't really work on gens all too well. Nancy is injured. She's going to be you know, making those grunts of pain, alerting the Nurse of her position. Blood trails too. So the Nurse really out here just trying to scout out. And I don't know what these survivors really can do here other than hope that they might be able to get a hatch escape. But we do see that Unhook on the Claudette.
Yeah, so I mean, this gave away good information. Sorry, I was struggling to get a sentence out there because I'm excited to see how the Nurse handles these two. We see one run into the corner. Where's the other one gone? Trying to split the Nurse's attention. Which one is she going to pick? Following the scratch marks, I can't quite see where they're gone. Hanging around here, there must be a tactic for Buey to go. Blinding. We know Decisive has already been used.
Yeah, so this is a very strategic play here. Nancy on death. A Claudette's been hooked once. The idea here is that Nancy's forcing them to pick up in the farthest spot from Shack, hopefully allowing for a hatch escape in the instance the Nurse is unable to find them. We now have a 4 minutes bleed out timer ticking on down. Mind you, based on our bleed out points, there will be full points awarded to the Nurse for this bleed out on the Nancy, and this means that the Nurse has roughly 3 minutes 30 seconds now in order to hunt down this Claudette.
Yeah, and that's pretty nervous for both players. Their hearts must be in the mouth, but I wouldn't like to be movement now, basically saying incognito until Buey either gets hooked or bleeds out to try and get into that hatch. But if they're going to get maximum points, I don't think it's going to be much difference. It's exciting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is a very strategic play, and it's going to result in 1 of 2 things. There is a third option as well, which forces the killer into a almost unwinnable scenario, which is the last second pickup on the bleed out, which really forces either you give one of the survivors the escape via the hatch, or you force the bleed out on the down. And so they could be going for that as well, commonly known as a nightlight tech, as they were ones who actually pioneered that in one of their competitive matches.
Is it less points for a bleed out?
So traditionally, yes. However, in this case, it would be the same number of points whether the Nancy gets hooked or bleeds out.
Okay. So this is really the nurse hunting movement for the next 2 or 3 minutes, which makes it difficult casting because it's just blinking round, hoping to see a glimpse of the Nancy.
Ooh.
But Buey is up. So they're giving away the space, right? Unless...
Yeah, that's really, really interesting to see, actually. Unless that was an unbreakable, I think this may have been a bit of a mistake, as the best thing they could have done was to give the Claudette another 2 minutes and then pick up even then.
The counter's almost reset, if you will. If a Buey gets downed in the same spot, they use the tactic, gives them another 4 minutes. But I think that might have been an unbreakable rather than movement around there. Can you see any scratch marks? Your eyesight's better than mine.
Didn't see any other than a Nancy, so it's very likely that may have been an unbreakable on her, and just basically her forcing this bleed out once again. And looks like Nurse may have just grown impatient here, as they are now going to drag them out. However, I don't know if they make the hill hook. I think their best bet would have been behind main, but it's possible that Nurse's thought here is to just drag them as far out into middle and hope that they can get a quick down thereafter.
Yeah, I was thinking that was almost deliberate. Like, get them as far into the map, go back, hit them. This could go on for some time, depending how far. So they're inching, inch by inch, into the middle, closer by closer to ensure that. So while you thought it was a lack of patience to do, it's actually probably smarter to do that in the first place.
Yeah, it kind of puts the pressure back on the survivors now, and we see them getting that much closer to that hook near Shaq. This has been a grueling and hard-fought match, but I think the Nurse has the right idea. With most killers, this wouldn't really work, but with the Nurse, it makes a ton of sense. Nancy, though, now having to dodge the blink strikes. Nurse misfiring there, not able to get the down right away. Nancy
that was just important miss.
It was, and Nancy getting a bit further in, and the Nurse missing too!
The frustration must be building. Are they going to be back at square one as Nancy takes her place in the corner of the map with a celebratory jump up and down and a flash in the eyes? She wants to be back in her corner, and then she is. Reset.
Yep, back here we go again. Nurse having to make that decision. Do we go for the one towards the shack? I mean, she has to be on point with those blink strikes to ensure that this does not happen again. And the timer set to about 1 minute now. The Nancy has 1 minute on the ground. We haven't seen much movement as far as generators are concerned. Claudette's definitely just hiding out. Nancy getting pretty far into the corner, but Nurse blocking them out, but not able to get the down once again. And it looks like we'll go back to the corner as Nurse is going to have to force the bleed out, I think. Nancy just playing around this Nurse to a T. However, I will say Claudette's not able to do much. You know, we are hearing the gen right here. We're able to hear the gen in main and kind of get a few glimpses of the gen over there in the middle, and doesn't look like they have much progress at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of patience going on. I would have thought you would have been able to squeeze that off. But you're right, you can just see in the distance, FaZe can see if that gen's being worked on. So he's comfortably chasing, well, comfortably is a word, maybe a word I wouldn't use, but he's chasing Nancy around while she gets back into the corner. I wonder where Claudette is hiding.
Yeah.
But this is slightly closer at the edge rather than the corner. Oh no, he's seen something.
Yeah, it looks like the Nurse may have either grown concerned about that gen in middle, or could just be saying, know what, screw it, I'm done playing around with this Nancy. I've tried this strategy, it's not working the way I want. And so they might just wait out that full minute instead. I mean, Nurse can sit on top of the hatch's location, but it looks like they're first going to check the basement here, maybe even go through the lockers as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could be up for 4 minutes of, or 3 minutes now of searching lockers, looking, well, it's strange, she only searched 2 there. What about the rest?
You know, thought
Could
that
be a
those would
mistake.
be the most obvious ones to check. And yeah, the Nancy currently has less than a minute on the clock, about 30 seconds now before they bleed out, spawning the hatch, giving the Claudette an opportunity to either escape through that or to escape via the exit gates. Time will tell. And looks like we're down to the 15-second mark here or there. And Nurse still out on the prowl for this Claudette, just unable to find her.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, that's going to die. Their blink is going to recharge. Is there going to be enough time? Depends where Claudette's hiding.
Yeah, I think Nurse is
Just
on
waiting
top
here. I can hear the footsteps. There we are.
There she is. Now it comes down to
Nurse
who
is
knows the
not
hatch
in there.
location, and the Claudette
She
does!
Oh my God. Well, I mean, we saw that yesterday, and the killer easily cleaned it. I don't know what happened, but she managed to sliver her way out. Movement, patience paid off in the end. Sorry, Gil, I got too excited.
No, that was absolutely insane from the survivor there. Nurse just a little bit off of the hatch location, allowing the Claudette to escape. That is huge for these survivors, as Claudette was only hooked once, so that's additional 2 points in their pocket, basically meaning that they had completed a 5th generator. Not to mention, though, it also robs the killer of an additional 3 points. So, in all honesty, it's as if they got the 5th generator plus a little bit more.
Yeah, that was an exciting end of what was starting to become a bit repetitive, but it really goes to show, after losing their games but competing well, they've come out swinging again against each other, both really wanting that win and playing like they do. Every point is going to matter here. I'm looking forward to see the return where we see a Blight come on for Prophecy, but yeah, I feel this is going to be close, Gil.
I think so too. With that being said, we are going to get trial number 2's lobby set up as we speak. But before we do go on a quick break, we do want to remind everyone here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So all the ads that you watch, all the bits they tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the rogue energy that buy using the code COTF. Go supporting Shaman's Fog and our prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. right, and we are back. This time with trial number 2, Prophecy versus Tribute. And we are going to see Prophecy's Blight versus Tribute Survivor team. And we did the math behind the scenes, and more or less, Prophecy is going to need to get a 3K11 hook in order to secure victory. In the instance, however, that the survivors get a survivor out the exit gate with more than 1 hook, or 2 survivors with 1 hook each left on them, Tribute will secure victory. It is going to be going down to the absolute wire, I think.
Yeah, and we didn't expect anything less from this personal grudge match that they have with each other, but we know that Phineas has a big challenge in front of them. But after the performance yesterday with Chronicles, I think he's up to the task. I'm really looking forward. A very different game from the Nurse, but we do see our first survivor being chased around Shack. Just makes it through the window, but comes back again. A mistake by Feng there as she takes a slap and pursues off with a blight on her towel.
Yeah, I mean, we see Compound here once again. We saw it yesterday as well, and we've seen how valuable it can be, giving you that aura reading and that information. Like, you're trying to go for that hug tech, unable to do so, though, on that box, just clipping that corner time and time again, and I don't think Fang has anything here. Nope, she has a pallet coming up. Will she get there in time?
And she did. Manages to get away. A frustrating slap against the pallet as the Blight has broken Chase and decided to leave that in pursuit of a gem, but we do see it pop in the distance there. Let's see what happens. We see the survivor hiding, camping the pallet down, early dropping to avoid, but being pursued around the back of main.
I also want to point out here, as we did see that generator pop off, we do see entity markers there in the distance, so that there is another deadlock, much like what we saw before. However, want to note the difference between this and the Nurse match prior. 1 gen has been completed, and there is no hooks thus far. These survivors doing absolutely amazing against this Blight.
Yeah, and it's not the start that we would have expected from Phineas. You really wanted to apply the pressure early by getting it down quickly. But as we said, the slowest starts some turn into the strongest finishes. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't write anyone off yet. We see a Gen alert over there.
And
as the Blight continues to search.
Yeah, survivors are keenly aware that there is, in fact, a overcharge skill check that was, in fact, missed, which does mean the highlighted gen is an eruption. As far as the 4th perk is concerned, neither survivors or us are exactly aware of what it might be, though Ace will end up being the first down here today.
Yeah, and I think that's an important down. If it would have went on any longer, that kind of would be setting into the killer's mind and frustration would start building in. I'm glad we got that down, and Phineas will start hopefully trying to step up and apply pressure. But ignoring the hooks there, going into the middle one to see if they can apply pressure to both sides of the map.
Yeah, very strategic play here, trying to get that hook there, but we do see what looks to be a renewal right off the gen. These survivors fearless in the face of the Blight, and we will see another kick of the gen, and that there, for you keen-eyed viewers, will know is a Pop Goes the Weasel.
And who doesn't love Pop Goes the Weasel? But I don't know if you noticed the amount of pallets that are being flown. The resources are being burnt through, and another one goes down. A good slap down by Jer to avoid the Blight. Only 1 gen done, but there's a serious amount of pallets being done as Feng takes another hit and runs off there, knowing that the down is imminent. Coming up behind, we see a gem pop, and Feng goes down.
Yeah, I will note, though, a lot of these jungle gyms here, though they've had some weaker pallets, all things considered, we do see these window vaults, which can prove very useful against the Blight. However, you do need to be careful when doing so. As we've talked about before, that compound going to be very, very beneficial for the Blight, understanding where you're trying to go with those mind games.
Yeah, absolutely. It really gives the killer an idea where to go, being able to see the killer. But is that an ace? I think it is, as we see him go round there. But let's see how they maximize the windows here. But no, going off to Shaq, taking a hit early on. Let's see how they pan going around there. The pallet has already been dropped, like most of them on the map. And there we see that perk being used. Oh, but an important miss as Ace shimmies back off and runs as far as they can, trying to get into the corner.
Yeah, no, unfortunate for the Blight, just unable to get that hit, really trying to play around their power. But Ace will, in fact, go down nonetheless. And Ace has already been down once before, so this will be their second hook, making them that much closer to being sent back to the campfire via the entity and closer to meeting their win condition.
Yeah, the pressure being applied back to the survivors, but the killer must be feeling it. I would expect a gen to pop any time now, considering we haven't seen Owly around the map. We see something ping off into the distance as the survivors get survived. I was going to say saved as he searches for his next victim. You can see the scratch marks, and there goes the other gen that we were talking about that's just pinged and gone off as we see Ace. It looks like we'll be tunneled out of the game. There we go.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for the Ace. That blood trail just leading the Blight immediately to them. Found a decisive strike. That will be it for them. And the Blight now going to be hoping to get another 2 kills here before these last 2 generators are completed. These survivors, though, potentially 99ing the main generator there, as it would be very difficult for the Blight to maneuver there. Hence why Nurse on this map is actually really strong. That little bit of verticality can go a really long way when it comes to the killer being able to interrupt.
Yeah, there we see the 4th gen done. I think from the win conditionings, the survivors are doing well. We see the scratch marks, as you said, as that ping goes, drops down, gets through the window just in time but takes a hit in the progress.
Yeah,
Gil, how do you think the win conditionings are going to fare out now?
I mean, things are looking quite rough for the Blight right now. We did see that hit on the Claudette. Blight trying to spread a little bit of pressure here, try and get multiple people injured to slow things down. However, I want to note we have not seen this Zarina this entire time. Both Zarina, Claudette have not been hooked, and in fact, Feng Min is still a problem, even if they are able to secure this 3-gen here. I think they need to be very, very smart on who they chase and how long they chase each individual survivor for, but I think it's definitely possible for the Blight to bring this back, but they need to be very careful on how long they commit to each individual chase.
Yeah, I think you're right. Survivors are doing very well to spread the Blight's attention. We just saw Owly found for the first time and is now pursuing, but before making sure that that gem was hit. And there we go. We see that power kicking in again, adding incredible value as Owly is about to go down, taking away that fresh hook status. So we're starting to see Phineas ramp this up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a 3-gen. We saw earlier with Nurse having kind of a pseudo 3-gen as well. The Blight being able to maneuver across this map as quickly as they do, you know, definitely makes this a bit of a 3-gen as well. And I think that's where we're going to see, you know, Blight really shine here. And it's going to come down to whether or not they allow the survivors to complete the gens, not whether or not the survivors will.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's too close to call for me to work out in my head. You've probably already done it. If the survivors do that other gen and we get a 4K here, I think Tribute just slightly miss off, but Ed just goes down there as well, which is good work, deciding to go for the slug and apply more pressure to them survivors, knowing that he must get that 4K and not let anyone go.
Yeah, the Blight just kind of taking a quick peek at these gens real quick, making sure that they're not primed and ready to go. Going for the hook here as they will refresh their Pop Goes the Weasel, really just chipping away at any progress these survivors have applied on this gen thus far. As you saw both Feng Min and the Zarina earlier, and looks like we see an insta unhook there from the Feng Min, I imagine.
Yeah, and I saw Owly go and Feng gets downed again, has been a constant nuisance for this particular bite. But we've also seen Claudette hasn't been hooked yet, I don't think. So if that is the condition, if she manages to get out, if they can grind out that last gen, that was a beautiful move by the Blight as it comes down and takes Zarina out. That was lovely.
Yeah, Compound once again really working in the Blight's favor here, allowing them to know exactly where the Zarina is going without any hesitation. And we will see them hooked once again. This now means that Zarina is one hook away from being sent back to the campfire. We do see another survivor back here. That's the Claudette. That's exactly who they needed to find. And so this is actually huge for the Blight, to say the least.
Owly comes off quickly, air kits go down. I mean, that's good. At least that pressure is off, that if he gets them on, that isn't the full fresh hook if they were to escape. As we said, the conditions are really close, but the Blight doing well to chip away at them points, and that gen still hasn't been done. Blight doing what Blight does well, getting backwards and forwards across that, as you say, that manufactured free gen, but doing a good job to it. Not as sublime and silky as the... Oh! Out of nowhere finds the Fang and takes that hit, and there's that value again you were talking about, Gil.
Yeah, I mean, really smart job there by the Blight, kind of sussing out where these survivors are going to be healing. And now the Zarina and the Fangman really in dire straits, as the Blight is going to get another hit here on the Zarina. Everyone's injured, meaning that going for this unhook is going to be very, very dangerous. And also want to note that everyone but the Fangmin is on Death Hook, meaning that if they're able to secure this hook here on the Fangmin and then kill any two survivors, they will secure their win condition there and then.
Yeah, this is not where they wanted to be. Blight is doing a good job. They must be happy with this. We see Jer now gone down, going through there. F was a fresh hook, or the Claudette, sorry, and is now on Death Hook. Pressure reapplied. The killer must be starting to feel confidence building as we come into the end game.
Yeah, absolutely. However, the killer not seeing the scratch marks immediately, but hearing those grunts of pain from the Zarina, going to be chasing them out of Shack. And at this point in time, like I said, they just need to kill two survivors, whether it be the Zarina, the Claudette, the Fangman. It does not matter. If two of them die, that will secure the win here for Prophecy. And looks like Zarina will be going down at the locker.
There she is. Taken out of the locker. The captain now going on to, or well, exiting back to the campfire. Goodbye, old friend, but your time has been spent. As we see, hopefully, the remaining two injured survivors try and go for a reset somewhere, but I don't think they're going to have much time because the Blight has spotted the scratch marks, which means only one thing: they're hot on the heels of the next survivor.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the Claudette here, and this could spell the end for Tribute in set number 1. For if they get this down, the Blight will outperform the Nurse. That hatch escape absolutely coming in clutch, and there it is. There's the down on the Claudette. The Blight not even having to think about the Fangmin, though wanting to secure the win. Hand over fist will go out searching for his Fangmin, and we do see some scratch marks.
I wonder if they know that if they just got that hook on, they'd be securing that particular win. Hopefully it doesn't backfire. Sometimes we see this, the teams haven't calculated correctly. It is a lost art that you have picked up, Gilt, but is going back to make sure that that's hooked on. But this was a great matchup, and it looks like, as you said, Prophecy are going to take this win.
Yep, and there's the Claudette slinking away, but it does not matter, as this here will secure the win, and doubly so as the Blight wanted to say, you know what? I don't just want to win by 1 point. I want to win handedly via a 4K full 24 points for the killer. And that will be a win for Prophecy.
Making sure the hatch is closed, that Jer doesn't spring out and doing it. Jer does get up. That must have been...
That there was probably an adrenaline based on the...
Adrenaline.
Actually,
for some reason, I stuttered on the word adrenaline. I was like, what's going on there? But yeah, the adrenaline plays, yeah. Yeah, it had to be, didn't it?
Yeah, it'd have to be adrenaline based on the timing, unless it was a perfectly timed Unbreakable. So I get a sense that was, in fact, an adrenaline. And looks like Blight will be out scattered around these exit gates, but I don't know. I got the feeling that the Fangmin's going to have a very difficult time, as the Blight does have a very solid line of sight on these exit gates.
I mean, that is a handy spawn for a Blight. He's just running back. And then we see her over in the top left there. Blight has also seen her. This could or will be the end of Feng. It was virtually impossible to get that exit gate off unless there's some type of ninja, which I don't think they are because we see Feng go down.
Indeed, indeed. But that being said, GG, well played to both sides, and congratulations to Prophecy for taking set number 1. We are going to be moving to set 2 now, this time on the Father Campbell's Chapel, where Prophecy will be bringing the Nurse against Tribute's Survivor team, followed by Tribute's Blight against Prophecy's Survivor team, so a bit of a reverse mirror match. I, for one, am very excited. And with that being said, we are gonna go on a quick break. Before we do, though, we don't mind everyone here today that we are partnered with Pugdom. The Pug King here himself hosts competitive events much like Champions of Fog and a whole lot more. Not to mention, they also host Group B, and will be hosting the entirety of Group B over on their channel for Season 6 of Champions of the Fog. So make sure you drop on by, say hi, drop a follow, and join their Discord so you do not miss a single moment of Champions of Fog Season 6. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. All right, and we are back, this time with set number 2, Prophecy versus Tribute, and we are going to be seeing Prophecy's Nurse against Tribute Survivor team on the Father Gamble's Chapel. Honestly, Nurse is going to be really strong here, I think. What do you think here, Pug King?